Hello BookTube. Today I'm going to be doing the Pie book tag. It was created by Josh of Literary Gladiators, and I will leave a link to his video down below, and a thank you because he did tag me. So let's begin the tag. I don't know if I'm filming this on Monday. I don't know if I'm going to be uploading it today or if I will try to do a premiere or upload it to YouTube tomorrow morning. I will be spending a lot of tomorrow in Temple because I'm going with my mom to a doctor's appointment. And by the time I get back, I will probably be in no mood to film a video. So let's begin with the tag. Okay. Number 1, Apple. A work that sings the praises of America. This one I had a bit of trouble with, particularly in the current climate. Obviously, the continuing protests over the murder, really lynching of George Floyd, and the the year's worth of incompetence from the current administration. So, trying to find a work I have that sings the praises of America was a little bit difficult, but I kind of found a book that I think expresses the hope of maybe more than praises, and that is The City of Lost Fortunes by Bryan, in which this novel takes place 5 years after Katrina, and it is a battle for the future of New Orleans. And in the end, once I am blanking on his name, and that is bad. Jude. Once Jude has become the fortune god of New Orleans, he uses his power to really redress some wrongs that are, endemic in our society, largely by siphoning too much luck from those who don't deserve it and giving it to those who have no luck but who honestly really deserve it. So, very, very powerful, amazing, enjoyable book. I'm looking forward to hopefully a third book in this series, and I'm definitely thinking about rereading The City of Lost Fortunes sometime later this year. Number 2, Cherry. A work that helped you develop a greater understanding of your country. I have 2 books for this one. And neither book is Big Wonderful Thing, A History of Texas by Stephen Harrigan. I think I've played that book out way too much by now, although it was tempting. So I'm going to go with These Truths by Jill Lepore. This is a recent history of the United States that takes an approach that is very reminiscent of Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States. And I am planning on rereading. It's been a few years since I've read These Truths, and I'm going to come back to it this July. This will be my major July reading project. Amazing book from what I remember. Just amazing. And also How to Hide an Empire by Daniel Immerwahr. This is a history of the United States' colonial possessions, the off-continental possessions like Guam, Puerto Rico, so on and so forth. And this is a really powerful and thought-provoking book. I absolutely loved it. I read it early last year, and I am looking forward to giving it another go sometime this year, or maybe early next year, depending. Number 3, Blueberry. A beach read you could probably finish on one visit. Imaro by Charles Saunders. This is an example of sword and sorcery, and the first work in the subgenre or sub-subgenre sword and soul, which is sword and sorcery inspired by African history, African settings, and it's generally, it's been years since I've read Imaro, but he basically goes off on an adventure. But I definitely need to come back and reread Imaro. Not on a beach though, because yeah, there are other things to be doing on a beach than reading, namely sketching and taking pictures and really making art. Okay. Number 4, Pumpkin. A work that would make for a great November book club read. I'm going to go with Wild Sea by Joy McCann. This is an amazing mix of history and science and study of the Southern Ocean, and it is just absolutely brilliant. Love this book. Number 5, Pecan. A writer that does the best job writing about the American South. I really only have one Southern writer, so I'm going to have to go with him. William Faulkner. This is The Sound and the Fury. I have As I Lie Dying too. I'm not I don't necessarily dislike William Faulkner. I actually quite like him. I really enjoyed The Sound and the Fury, As They Lie Dying. Not quite a fan of Light in August. Probably ought to eventually add that book to my collection and reread it. And also Absalom. But yeah, so definitely William Faulkner. Although I would also argue Tennessee Williams, even though not all of his work is set in the American South. And then also like Carson McCullers, Eudora Welty, Flannery O'Connor. Number 6, Sweet Potato. A work that responded to something. For this prompt, I'm going to go with Hero by Perry Moore. Hero is a young adult superhero fantasy in which Tom Creed is two things that his father hates. He is gay and he has superpowers. And over the course of the novel, Tom becomes a young superhero. So Hero was written as a reaction to the prevalence at the time in Marvel and DC Comics of doing terrible things to what few LGBT superheroes they had at the time. Particularly Moore cites the murder of the superhero North Star, who at the time was the marquee gay superhero. Really, maybe the only superhero who had any presence, who was gay. He was murdered during a storyline in which Wolverine was brainwashed by Hydra to become an assassin, and one of the several superheroes murdered by Wolverine was North Star. And then he was later resurrected as a slave of the Hand and sent to attack the Xavier School, where he attacked a young gay mutant named Victor Bukowski, who goes by the superhero name Anole, or Anole. So anyway, definitely Hero is a reaction to really the mistreatment of gay and lesbian superheroes of the time. I mean, it's gotten better. Although I think there has been a lot of retrenchment, particularly like at DC. There was quite a few gay superheroes with some prominence during the New 52, although a lot of gay heroes were excised from existence with the New 52 too. So, but since the New 52 gave way to Rebirth and whatever the hell is going on at DC now, there's been a lot of retrenchment. Although you do have like Batwoman and Harley Quinn. So, and then at Marvel you have like, I mean, North Star still around, about to get his own book. Iceman, Wiccan and Hulkling, Anole, Angela, Mystique, America Chavez. So it has gotten significantly better than it was when Perry Moore was writing. Number 7, Key Lime, a mystery that you would like to read on the beach. Again, I will be taking photo references so I can paint. That's what I should be doing. Okay, so for a mystery, I guess I'll go with The Caribbean Mystery by Agatha Christie. Quite appropriate. It's not necessarily one of my favorite Agatha Miss Marple novels. I think on my recent reread, it kind of became pretty obvious pretty quickly who the murderer was, and several dead bodies could have been prevented. So anyway, but yeah, I'll go with Caribbean Mystery. Although anything by Agatha Christie probably would work too. Number 8, Boston Cream. A work you would be up to reading from a non-preferred genre. This one was tough, and I'm not entirely sure the book I'm picking actually quite fits the genre I'm thinking it is. And if not, there's a book coming out early next month that I'm planning on picking up that, I think definitely fits. But the book I'm going to go for, I'm not entirely sure it works, is The Last Romeo by Justin Myers, which I'm hoping is a gay romance. So, hopefully. Is, yeah. Okay. And romance is a genre that I'm not as familiar with as I would like to be. Okay, number 9, and sorry about my phone going off. Macaroni. A comfort read that can be enjoyed by all audiences. I'm not entirely sure Macaroni fits the prompt. I mean, seriously, what is macaroni pie? I've never heard of it, so not entirely sure it quite fits the prompt. Anyway, I'm going to go with Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This is a classic children's novel, and I think probably everyone's read it, or everyone could read it and really enjoy it. Yeah. Number 10, Moon. A work you can see yourself picking up at a shop with a drink. So I'm assuming moon pies are those little confections, like, yeah, suspiciously cream-like stuff with some kind of weird pastry, you know, covered in chocolate. Never quite liked those. For this, I'm going to go with the book that you probably could have expected to be in, or used to, would have been in those kind of convenience stores or dollar stores or what have you, and that is The Thorn of Dentonhill by Marshall Ryan Maresca. This is a fantasy. It's urban, but it's in a secondary world. I think it's steampunky, and it's a superhero. The Thorn is sort of a superhero in this world. I think he's a wizard. So I have not gotten around to this book yet. I think the whole of this particular sub-series in Maresca's larger series. So hopefully I will eventually get around to reading it. Number 11, Pizza. A writer that does a great job with long and short works, as well as thick and thin books. For this, I'm going to go with George R. Martin. Obviously, very thick. His A Song of Ice and Fire books are famous, infamous, though not nearly as infamous as Brandon Sanderson, for being chunksters. I think the first few books, Game of Thrones, Clash of Kings, were, I think, moderately 800-900 pages, and then with Storm of Swords and on with the later books, they're the size of the Lord of the Rings. But at the same time, George R. R. Martin has written some fantastic short fiction like Sand Kings. And I think there's a short story by him in one of the anthologies I have that I've been looking forward to reading. But definitely, if you have not read Sand Kings, you should. You definitely should. Number 12, Whipped Cream. A work that is overwhelmingly in your face with its message. So, this tag, this or prompt, I'm not entirely sure about. Sorry. Because usually in your face has negative connotations. And I don't necessarily have a book for which that sort of in your face message that I would attach negative connotations to. That obviously would be Wizard's First Rule, or whatever poop Terry Goodkind has out. But I went with an anthology that's the messaging is pretty in your face, and that is A People's Future of the United States. This is a science fiction anthology that takes as its guiding principle Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States, and it deals with a lot of sort of a more political, diverse sort of set of stories. I tried to read it, or I read it last year when it first came out, and I didn't quite get on with it, but I think after I read the Locust anthology, this will be my next anthology I will tackle, hopefully. And maybe my second reading will make me like it more. I think my issue with it is that the stories are so depressing that, A People's Future, you would also kind of like a bit more optimistic. As sexy as dystopia is right now, there's also still the attraction of Star Trek, of the Federation, of United Earth in sort of the Star Trek franchise. Anyway, number 13, American. A work that does a great job using allegory. Well, how about British? The Faerie Queene. by Edmund Spenser, which is quite allegorical. Like say the character Una is representative of England. The Fairy Queen is obviously Elizabeth I. And Elizabeth actually plays, several different characters represent Elizabeth in this epic. So yeah, and then the Red Cross Knight is obviously St. George, a representation of England. Definitely, the Fairy Queen is a very allegorical book. Although I wonder necessarily if American is meant to be American Pie the movie, which I've never seen. Okay, number 14. What is your favorite kind of pie? So, let's review the list of pies. Apple pie. I'm not entirely sure I've ever had an apple pie. I want to have an apple pie. I've been dying to try apple pie for ages, but I don't know if I've ever actually had an apple pie. Cherry pie. I don't particularly care for cherries. Blueberry. I'm not entirely fond of blueberries. Pumpkin. They're okay if they're really spicy. Pecan pie. Oh, I love pecan pie. Probably my favorite. Sweet potato pie. Not terribly fond of. Key lime pie. I really, really want to make one. Also want to really make an apple pie too, for that matter. Boston cream pie. Never had. Macaroni pie. Again, what the heck is that? Moon pie. Hate it. Pizza. It's a savory pie. I like it. Don't know if I necessarily prefer it over pecan pie. Although obviously I have pizza far more often than I do pecan pie. Whipped cream. You need something a bit more substantial. American pie. Admittedly, never seen it. Okay, so number 15. So ultimately I think I'm going to go with pecan pie. Although I also like peach pies and lemon pies. And fried pies. Peach fried pie. Amazing. So 15. Pie Day. Who do you tag? So if anybody sees this tag and you're filling up to doing a tag, or you really need a tag to sort of, go ahead and consider yourselves tagged, and if not, you don't need to. But if you would like to do this tag, please consider yourselves tagged. So again, I don't know necessarily if I'm going to be uploading this video today on Monday, or if I'm going to try to do a premiere, or I'll just upload it sometime tomorrow morning or when I get back. Because I don't feel like, probably won't feel like filming tomorrow, but I can easily just upload it tomorrow and just save it. So anyway, so whatever I decide to do, thank you, BookTube. Have a great, whatever time it is you're watching this. If you are protesting, please stay safe and be aware of the ongoing pandemic and take all precautions to protect yourself. Until then, until next time, BookTube, thank you, stay safe,